Guys, this video is completely unplanned. I was not planning to do a video today. However, I saw the news and I had to. And as you can see in the title, surprisingly or unsurprisingly, Jacare Souza has now tested positive for COVID-19. That's right, Jacare Souza has tested positive for COVID-19. Now, whilst this is not necessarily a surprise, because it is a global disease that's going around everywhere, it is quite surprising in the context of UFC. It did look like for a minute UFC 249 was going to go off without a hitch. And I want to first of all say Jacare is one of my favourite fighters. And I really hope that no harm comes to him as a result of this. And I hope him and everyone else take the correct precautions. And I hope that he comes through this safe and healthy. However, I think that this has to throw everything up in the air. Like, Jacare is now tested positive, and you've got videos coming out of him being close to other fighters. Fabricio Verdum posted an Instagram story of him and Jacare literally within touching distance of each other. So, potentially, he has not been social distancing, and we don't really know the truth of that, because they're all at a fighter's hotel. So he could have been into contact with anyone, any number of fighters or coaches, or even sort of normal UFC employees, UFC civilians. Dana White, because Dana White's going to have to tell them stuff. We don't know if they've definitely social distanced. So here's my take on it. I mean, I said in my video yesterday, I said I still have a little bit of a doubt whether this is going to happen, whether UFC 249 is going to happen. And I do think that whilst it's one fighter testing positive for coronavirus, and whilst I don't personally think that it could still lead to the cancellation of UFC 249. And the reason why I say that is because if he has been into contact with other fighters, and indeed other people, coaches, employees of the UFC, Dana White, whoever, even fans who are asking for autographs, if there is any there, just hanging about, we know that not everyone's respecting the rule. People are potentially going to take the view that, fighters are young and they're fit and they're not going to be affected by this. But that doesn't necessarily go for coaches, and it doesn't go for all people. And from what we've heard about this disease, it's quite random as to who has bad symptoms and who doesn't have bad symptoms. So I think we have to look at this as quite a serious threat to the card. I think that they're going to end up cancelling it, and I'll explain why. If they were to go ahead with this, so they know that he's tested positive, they have prior knowledge of this now. So they know that Jacare has tested positive for coronavirus. But if they decide to go ahead, and then somebody else, either a fighter, coach, cameraman, whoever, gets coronavirus off the back of Jacare having it, and then that person or multiple people happen to die from it, then I think the UFC is in the middle of some serious shit. And whether or not that's the right decision, I do think it's the only decision that they can take. And I say this as someone who wants to watch the fights. I want to watch the fights tomorrow, but the kind of trouble that they will get into if somebody does get coronavirus off the back of them knowing Jacare had it, and knowing that he was potentially in contact with other fighters. So they had knowledge of these things, and they decided not to do anything about it. They still wanted to proceed with the card. I don't know, I think that what's going to happen? There's going to be a lot of legal action going on there. Legal action for sure. We're going to be talking lawsuits and fines, ridiculous fines, because the whole world knows about this. It's going to be something where the global press gets involved if this is something that's allowed to happen, and then somebody ends up dying from coronavirus as a result of potentially catching it from Jacare Souza, whether that's the case or not. So, they can test all the fighters, but potentially the symptoms will be taking a while to show up on some of them. So I think it's a bit of a difficult one, but I ultimately think the UFC, as a big organisation like that, they have to have the foresight. It's probably not worth the risk. And I don't say that as someone that's, you know, mental about the coronavirus, because I do think some people are taking it too far with, you know, how bad it actually is. That's just my personal opinion. But they can't risk it. It's not the facts of whether it's good or bad. It's the perception. The perception is that it's this absolute killer virus, and the UFC would not be doing their due diligence in stopping it from spreading, and therefore they've caused the death of a person. Now that's going to be some serious shit, people. As always, guys, it's just a quick one, but thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 50 subscribers now, so I just want that 1 or 2 more just to push us the way through. Thank you very much who supported me by liking and subscribing to my channel so far. But also leave your comments in the comment section, because I want to know what people think about this. This is just, it's unprecedented in terms of, we've never had a situation quite like this before. Thanks for listening, guys. Peace.